Hi folks, Shane here with Shane's Premier League Prediction Show for Match Week 24. Let's crack on with the show. Brighton and Chelsea is the first game up tomorrow. I reckon it's going to be a 3-0 win for the Londoners. Eden Hazard and Alvaro Morata to be in amongst the goals here to help beat struggling Brighton, who are only 3 points off the relegation zone, I think, at present. So a comfortable win for the Blues here, and a timely one, as they have been picking up a lot of draws lately, including in the Cup in midweek. But they eventually prevailed anyway. So we'll move on. Arsenal and Crystal Palace. Arsenal are another team struggling at the moment. They managed to go to Bournemouth and lose 2-1 last week, despite having the lead. Bournemouth deserve their victory, so if Arsenal are to have any aspirations of getting into the top 4, they will need to bounce back against Crystal Palace tomorrow. I reckon they will. Just about, however, with a 1-0 victory. Alexander Lacazette to score the goal against a resurgent Crystal Palace side. On we go. Burnley and Man United. Burnley lost out narrowly last week, and their good first half of the season is slowly fading away, as I might have predicted throughout my shows earlier on in the season. It's unfortunate for them, but they need to pick up a result from somewhere. Man United managed to win their last game convincingly against Stoke City. I reckon they'll have another win tomorrow at Turf Moor, albeit another one. Romelu Lukaku to get the Red Devils a 1-0 victory. On to Everton and West Brom. I reckon this is going to be a 2-0 win for the Toffees. They've been struggling for results lately. I reckon Toussaint is going to get off the mark. There were big money signing there recently, and maybe Dominic Calvert-Lewin to get another goal there and get a clean sheet for Big Sam, hopefully, and all the rest of it, and everything will be hunky-dory once again for Everton. So on to Leicester and Watford. I reckon this is going to be a comfortable win for the Foxes. I reckon Riyad Mahrez, Jamie Vardy and Islam Slimani will get the goals here in a 3-0 victory. Watford did show good fight in their game against Southampton last week, but they only managed to pick up a point despite coming back from 2-0 down. And they need a win from somewhere as well. So watch this space, but can't see it coming tomorrow for the Hornets. Need a victory from somewhere. On to Stoke City and Huddersfield. I reckon Paul Lambert's going to get off to a winning start tomorrow in the Potteries at the Bet365 Stadium. Peter Crouch to pop up with the winner here against struggling Huddersfield side at present. West Ham managed to beat them 4-1 last week. Speaking of which, we'll move on to West Ham and Bournemouth. Both teams are doing very well at the moment, coming off great results. The last game week, I reckon West Ham will edge this one though, with maybe a couple of goals from Andy Carroll and maybe Jordan Ibe after the last day. He might score another goal. When one comes, they might come like buses. Who knows? So a 2-1 win for the Hammers here. And on to Manchester City and Newcastle. Manchester City look to bounce back from their first defeat of the season against a generally struggling Newcastle side. They're creating a few chances, but they're not converting them. And when you get the chances in the Premier League, folks, you need to convert the chances to get the points, obviously. But they're not doing so they're struggling. And Man City are just going to be like a wounded animal here after their trip to Merseyside last week. So watch this space. And I reckon it's going to be a 3-1 win for the Sky Blues here. With Raheem Sterling, Sergio Aguero and Leroy Sané and Dwight Gale for Newcastle in amongst the scores. On to Sunday's match now, and it's between Southampton and Spurs. I reckon this is going to be a comfortable 2-0 win for Spurs. Harry Kane and Son Heung-min scored the goals here against another struggling side. I don't think Southampton have won in 10 league games now. And on to the final game of the week, and that's on Monday evening. And that sees Swansea take on Liverpool. I reckon this is going to be a hard-fought win for the Reds after their brilliant victory over Manchester City last week, as I alluded to earlier. I reckon Roberto Firmino and Mohamed Salah to come up with the goals for the Reds here, and maybe Jordan Ayew to score for the Swans like last week. So there are my predictions for the scores anyway. So on we go now with my fantasy picks. It's Fantasy Premier League, so on to it now. So I have David De Gea in goal, Mason Holgate in the defence, along with Tompkins and Haidara. And then my midfield is made up of Arnautovic, Hazard, Mane, Salah and Jesse Lingard. To round it off then I have Lukaku and Firmino up front. So they're my tips for this week with the fantasy. Now on to Super 6. Once again, £1 million up for grabs here for anybody who wants to enter, as it hasn't been won yet. So here's my picks for this week. And just a footnote here. If you think I'm leaning forward a bit too much, folks, it's due to my iPad playing up a little bit. There's messages coming up every few minutes. Say that something has stopped working or a program has crashed, but this hasn't stopped working. So, sorry about that. Yeah. So we'll move on. As I was saying, Super 6 predictions now. 1-0 to Arsenal against Crystal Palace, 2-0 to Everton against West Brom, 1-0 to Stoke against Huddersfield, 1-0 to Manchester United against Burnley, 3-0 to Leicester against Watford, and 2-1 to West Ham over Bournemouth. So there we go. And the final part of this week's prediction show sees me pick out first goal scorers for 6 games here. The Paddy Power Hotshot. So Alexander Lacazette to score for Arsenal against Crystal Palace. Riyad Mahrez to score for Leicester against Watford. Harry Kane to score for Spurs against Southampton. Romelu Lukaku to score for Manchester United against Burnley. Raheem Sterling to score for Manchester City against Newcastle. And Mohamed Salah score for Liverpool against Swansea. That's it for this week, folks. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you like it, subscribe. All the best. Have a nice weekend.